Well, hello, Rona. Welcome to my channel, my Esky channel. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Simone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm absolutely delighted. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Pleasure's all mine, Rona. So my YouTube channel, as you probably know, I started it a couple of years ago. And one of the reasons why I decided to start vlogging was wanting to share my journey with my health battles, which I go into in the story, in the Anthology series, which we're about to discuss very soon. And I also wanted to use the platform to be able to engage, to share, to connect, to inform, and to empower people. So I have the opportunity, it's a blessing to be able to talk about topics of interest to me. And I'm hoping that in doing so, it's going to be a blessing to others. Which brings us rather neatly onto today's topic, which is about the Navigating Life Anthology series and the launch, which is happening on the 31st of July, 2021. Rona can hardly contain her excitement. I can hardly contain myself. We both happen to be two of 29 amazing, all-female who have decided, who have dared to bare their souls and talk about a time in their lives which was quite traumatic, and essentially how they navigated and went through the valley but came out of the other side. And Rona and I decided it would be fitting to jump on this platform and just have a general discussion, chit chat about it, and hopefully share some nuggets with you about how, you know, the whole thing came about, what it was like, and what next. So Rona, I mean, how did you actually get involved with Evolve to begin with?
Wow. So with Evolve, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which started 16 months ago, the amazing Claudine and her team took the Evolve Women's Ministry from our church online. And that was to really empower women, you know, in the church. And literally we've realized it's literally gone across the globe, which is fantastic. And since then, I think it started off, it was initially going to be 12 weeks. Yeah. My goodness, it's more than 50 weeks later. No, sorry, no, it's
16 months later. Yeah.
Nearly 70 weeks later. Yeah. That is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And, you know, I've tuned in to most sessions. I think in that period, I may have only missed about 2 weeks, but other than that, I have been there. Come 10 o'clock, you know, no matter what, I am there tuned into navigating life.
Absolutely. I so relate to that, Rona. And I don't know about you. Yes, it was meant to be 12 weeks. And to think that here we are 16, 17 months later, I still try to make sure most Saturdays I am on there, because I'm one of those people who suffers with FOMO. So I genuinely fear that I am missing out if I don't hop on. So I'll have stuff to do, but, you know, even if it means keeping the camera off or what have you, it'll be there in the background, because there's always going to be, you know, some amazing speaker on there, sharing, empowering. And it's just been a fantastic.
You just can't miss out, can you?
This is it.
Just really do not want to miss out on it, because every single week, there's some major, you know what, some people call them nuggets. I mean, they're not nuggets. These are like gold bullion bars of wisdom that we receive every single week. And it's transforming women, which is wonderful.
Such a blessing, such a blessing. So when the announcement was made that we were going to now take things one level higher. Obviously, it was great having this platform where you'd have these women and sometimes men coming along and just dropping these boulders on us. It was now going to be, if you like, encapsulated, crystallized in time forevermore in a book anthology series. What inspired you? What were you thinking when you thought, right, yeah, I'm going to be part of that?
You know, I think we've all got a story. Every single person has got a story. You know, we've gone through aspects of life, and I just thought, if my story can help even one person I've got a voice, I've got a hand, I can type, I'm going to literally get my story out. And it was just an ideal opportunity to share something that I've been through and something that can empower another girl, lady. So yeah, that was, for me, it was just a case of, I have to do it. I didn't even stop to think. It was a case of, yes, I'm doing it. How did you get on board, Simone? What made you say yes?
Well, I mean, I've embarked on that whole creative process, creative journey anyway. And I started to write my own book a while ago, but I have to admit, I've been going through a kind of stop, start, stop, start. And I just instinctively, as soon as the announcement was made, I just instinctively knew that I had to get on board, because that was just the catalyst that I needed to get me off, get me propelled in the direction I need to go in. Because here were, you know, some phenomenal women, Claudine and Camille in particular, who know a thing or two, who, you know, just share, are so giving, and yeah, just so experienced in their field. And I thought, if there was ever a time that I needed to align myself with the right people to ensure that I fully come into my mission and realize my purpose, this was the time. So yeah, it just made sense. It just made sense. Camille, you know, we're fortunate to have been part of the same coaching circle, if you like, with Bishop. And so I'm familiar with her, you know, journey somewhat. I'm familiar with her style and what she does. And just the name, Divine Flow Publishing. I mean, who would not want to be part
I know.
of it, right? So for me, yeah, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But go on. Are you going to say something?
I'm just interesting because there's 29 of us, 29 women of different, you know, we've gone through different journeys. We've all gone through different journeys. We've got different stories to tell, and we've got this opportunity to share that can transform somebody else's life. Absolutely. So yeah, it's wonderful.
I just find it so humbling. I mean, when I've started reading the stories and just now grasping the fact that I'm one of 29 phenomenal women, like you say, different life, and you know, to think that we are the first, we're the pioneers. Do you know what I mean?
And it's international as well. It's international as well.
The authors are from all over the globe, from America, from Africa.
I know.
It's just phenomenal. It really is.
Yeah.
It's just so humbling. It's so humbling. But I mean, if I were to ask you, Rona, did you find anything particularly challenging about the whole process? Once you said yes and you now had to get on with it, was there anything that you found hard?
I said yes, and then I thought, oh my goodness, you know, I've gone through so many different aspects of life, and the book is about navigating life. And I thought, well, what aspect can I speak on? And then I decided my theme, my subject, and then again it was a case of, well, what angle do I speak about? Because you can actually have that one subject and tackle it in various different ways. And then once I identified, it was just a case of, right, focus. That's what I had to do. I just had to say focus. And the support that we received from, you know, Camille and, you know, the team, you know, within Divine Flow was a case of focus. So that's great.
I think, yeah.
What was your challenge, Simone?
It was probably a similar thing for me, focusing. But also, I guess because I love the whole writing experience anyway, I just love writing, sharing stories, sticking to the word limit. Rona, that was a challenge. Because there was so much there was so much material. And as much as, yes, it was a difficult time of my life, and going back to that place was a bit challenging, I guess. Once I've kind of opened that kind of worms, I thought, okay, this needs to be shared. Oh my goodness. And then there was that, you know, just remember things that were just bringing it all back. And I was thinking, okay, now I've got all this material. How do I fit it all in to the word count? So that was, yeah, it was it was a nice challenge to have, put it that way. About other
Yeah.
people who talk about a writer's block and, you know, not being able to find the material, or maybe the subject matter is so traumatic, it's just not flowing. But I thank God it was, a challenge of a different order. Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. But I mean, if I could take you back to that moment in time when you were navigating this period of your life, and you know, there you were in your bubble, whatever you want to call it, and you know, life was tough and you couldn't see a way out. If anyone had said to you then, Rona, there'll come a time when you will be sharing your story with the world, what would you have said to them?
It would be the case. You know what? Back then, I didn't even realise that I had a story. I was a completely different person. It's not until like now and receiving coaching and mentoring from Bishop Wayne Malcolm, you know, receiving coaching from, you know, Claudine as well, you know, through the Navigating Life. And you get to realise that, you know, I do actually have something inside of me that needs to come out. And it's pointless bottling up, because you think, well, we've gone through certain things which may not be nice, which may be very challenging, but we've gone through them for a reason. You know, and it could be to help somebody else, to prevent somebody else from going through the same situations that we've gone through. And so now that I realise that, it's a case of I can't hold it in anymore. I've got to, you know, open up and spill the beans.
I hear you. I hear you. And if we could just ask Rona for a snippet, you refer to this story, just a snippet perhaps, to tease our readers, our viewers.
You know what? I do have snippets, but I would say the best tease is to purchase the book. Literally, I mean, the thing is, it's absolutely amazing. I would recommend, do actually go and purchase the books, the volumes, because there are so many of us that we couldn't be contained in one book.
Two had to be written. Can you imagine?
Yeah, we could not be contained in that one book. So I would say there are amazing stories. I think if I started reading, I wouldn't stop, because and I think that you would get too engrossed and I wouldn't know where to stop. So I do think, you know, just book. How about you, Simone?
I was thinking about that actually. You know, what would be an appropriate amount of information to divulge? And yeah, I think I might share just a little snippet, because, you know, in my story, I share battles that I went through with my health, and without giving too much away, you know, I was always this skinny mini when I was growing up. And I always wanted to, I used to admire my friends at the time, you know, who were blossoming, as it were. And I always imagined that being being a woman meant that you should be voluptuous and curvy and all of these things. And I was anything but. And for me, in my little brain as a little girl back then, I worked out in my mind that it was when women hit puberty rather, was when this magical transformation seemed to happen. So I then developed this obsession about, right, when am I going to get my period? When am I going to get my period? And then eventually it happened. Obviously, it's one of those things you can't avoid. But then things started to go south very quickly, because mysteriously I would end up falling ill every single month, every time that I got my period. And I just knew that something wasn't right, because I'd be comparing notes with other friends, girlfriends, like you do. And, you know, all my girlfriends would just shrug their shoulders, not quite understand where I was coming from when I described the sheer debilitating pain that I'd experience every month. And I'll read a little snippet out of my story, where I'm talking about So I've now started my period, and of course, I'm going through it with mum. So I was overjoyed to be escorting my mother to the chemist to purchase sanitary products, and would roll my eyes back and pretend to bemoan the fact that periods always arrived at the most inopportune time, like sports days at school. So when I started experiencing monthly excruciating and nauseating pain with my periods, you can imagine the horror I felt, wondering why me. Finding out from some of my friends that menstruation was the most unremarkable thing happening to them left me perplexed. Why all the drama with me? Feeling like a freak every time my period started, my life would literally stop. I missed school. My mother would mop my fevered brow and nurse me back to health, comforting me by telling me it would get better. Only it would not. If anything, things progressively got worse. And I'll leave it there.
Oh my goodness, I was waiting for more. I can't wait to read your story, Simone. I'm really, really looking to reading your story. It's yeah.
It's funny, Rona, because as you're reading, obviously it takes you back to that moment in time, and I just thank God that I've just been able to navigate and go through what was a really dark period in life to the point now where we're being referred to as ambassadors of hope.
Mm.
I mean, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, if being referred to as the first thing actually is I feel imposter syndrome, if I'm being completely honest, when they use that label. I feel imposter syndrome because I genuinely think, what, me? Little old me, how am I inspiring or giving hope? But then obviously the woman of faith in me has to sort of step back and think about, okay, there was a reason why I went through this journey. And, as I'm now at that point where I'm able to speak about it and share my story, and I've been privileged to speak to other women who have been in a similar situation. And I've seen how I've been able to touch and be able to engage and empower by sharing my story. And by being able to just impart some kind of hope to other people who might be going through a similar thing is just one of the most humbling experiences. It really is. It's a true blessing to be in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you feel, Rona, when you're described as an ambassador of hope.
I think if I can give hope to something, for me, it's just that one, even if it's just that one person who I can make a difference in their life. I've done my job. But I'm hoping that there's going to be more than that one person. I'm hoping that there's a ripple effect. The person that you see right now before you is not the person who that you read about in the book. It's a completely different person. So if you read my story, and when you read my story, you'll then get to understand my story is about navigating shyness. And some people look at me and say, no, really? If you knew me back then, you would understand. When you read my story, you will understand how I did actually navigate that path, navigated it from shyness to boldness. And if I can do it, other people can do it. You talk about imposter syndrome, Simone. Literally, read the book, read my chapter. That's all I can say. So if you were advising somebody, Simone, if you had to, advise somebody who had a story to share, what would you say to them?
I mean, for me, I've transitioned. I've gone through a lot of transitions, I guess, where I've been reinventing myself and embarking on different journeys in the one life. And I'd say the biggest to date, what helped me make that cross career-wise from what I used to do in the legal profession to what I'm now doing in the creative industry, was recognizing that I just needed to arm myself with tools to be able to join up the dots. So yes, I had this passion to want to write, to want to present, to use, YouTube, for instance, to share. And I also had this painful past and things that have happened, in years gone by. How do I combine the two? It was just these different aspects of Simone, but I wasn't quite sure how to marry them all up and do something meaningful, tap into my purpose. And for me, I think when I met Bishop Wayne Malcolm, who was a bishop at my church, and how that whole thing started, in fact, me discovering my church, ICANN Community Church, was just pure serendipity. And how that obviously led to me ending up getting coached by Bishop and meeting all these other amazing people, as part of that whole coaching journey, was the major catalyst in just getting me from that point of thinking, oh, I don't know how to do this. I want to share, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but what steps do I take? So getting a coach, ensuring that, you get the right professional development, personal development if you need it, to be able to just see clearly, because, you're in your little bubble, so you can't see the wood for the trees sometimes, but you will find that maybe it's the people you surround yourself with that can start to point things out to you. I remember a conversation I had once with Bishop where I just had a download. I think it was a bit of a verbal download. One time I went away on a retreat. I think you were there, in fact, Rona. We went
I was, yeah, I remember.
To Onga, stayed in this beautiful hotel, and I think one evening after dinner, I had a chat with Bishop, and I was just telling him about some of the things I've been sharing with you, my health journey, and wanting to get into the creative industry. And he just said to me after that, "That's it. The mystery is in your history." Didn't quite make sense at the time, but I can guarantee you in the days following that retreat, that coaching session, it all started to make sense. And I just thought, start with your history, Simone. Start to share with the world, see where that takes you. And this writing, this being part of this anthology series was part of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
It seems like this is just the start, Simone. That's just it. It's interesting where this is going to take you. It really, really is. I mean, so for you, Simone, what's next for you, Simone?
Wow, what's next?
Yeah.
Well, I'm currently chronicling my own story, my own book, and by God's grace, that will be out by the end of the year. So that was one of the main reasons why I jumped on this anthology series. It was the catalyst that I needed. It's almost like I needed some confirmation to say it can be done. Because as I said, I'd started, I'd stopped, and this has just proved to me. We're talking about a launch in literally a few weeks' time. We've done it, Rona. We actually did it. So yeah, that's one of the things that's next for me. I'm also working on my website that's being developed, so more information on that very soon, so stay tuned, guys. And my business, which is all coming together at the moment, again, out of the professional and personal coaching that I've benefited from, I've realized that my forte was literally my gifts and talents that I've been blessed with and just hadn't really seen them. So my love for writing, my love for sharing stories, that's all happening as we speak. During the pandemic, Rona, I was really fortunate to be able to work as a freelance writer and journalist, writing in that magazine, Butterfly Magazine, and a few other outlets, online outlets, and that's just sort of solidified my desire to press more into my creative abilities. So yeah, my business is going to be mainly a suite of services: proofreading, editing, writing, voiceover. Oh my God, voiceover. I did my first audiobook, Rona. How can I forget?
Well done. Now on Amazon. Well done.
Called For Such a Time as This.
Well done.
By an amazing sister that we all know, Esther Osenwegi.
Awesome. Well done.
Wrote that book. Thank you. She wrote that book during the pandemic. It started, she started writing it last March when the pandemic literally kicked off. She wrote it in about 6 weeks or thereabouts. Phenomenal.
Yeah, because she's a COVID nurse, isn't she?
She's a COVID
She was
nurse.
a nurse throughout the pandemic.
Correct, and she wanted to share her experience.
Mm.
I was really honoured that she asked me to do the audiobook for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been amazing just getting that done. That's something that I can add to my portfolio as well. And yeah, I will continue to also share rich content on this platform, my Eskeep channel, where people like yourselves, Rona, can come on and talk about their journey, talk about real life stuff that can, hopefully make an impact. Because
Yeah.
I say it's all about engaging the audience. It's about sharing your story, connecting. You just don't know who you're going to be touching, who you're going to be affecting right now. Informing people who may not know about maybe some of the issues that you experience, that you've talked about navigating, and empowering. That's what we need to do. We want to make a difference. That's really ultimately what I'm trying to do, make a difference. So
that's wonderful.
That's what's next for me.
That is wonderful. You know what, there's a quote by Muhammad Ali, and he says, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it.
Amen.
Yeah, so it's true. If the thing is, the first thing is in your mind, if you can actually think that you can achieve it, and then it goes into your heart, then you will achieve it. And I look at you, Simone, and I think of all of the things that you've gone through and your achievements now, and literally there's more in store for you, absolutely more in store for you. So well done.
I don't believe it. Thank you. Thanks, Rona. But what about you? I mean, I know that there's exciting stuff going on in the background. So where were we? I was just saying that I know there have been things happening, going on in the background, Rona. What is
my goodness, I've just had an amazing time. I mean, being in the anthology is wonderful, and I can't wait for the launch on the 31st of July. But also, I don't know if you said that you could see things in the background.
I'm seeing some things in the background. And what's that?
Hot off the press. Absolutely hot off the press.
Do I see Rona Anderson as
Rona Anderson? I have just produced a gratitude journal, and it's absolutely wonderful. There's loads of tips on gratitude. There's amazing quotes in there as well. It's phenomenal, and also the benefits on gratitude benefits. It's honestly, I am just so excited about this, Simone, because I'm also a happiness coach, and so gratitude is one of the aspects of increasing your happiness. And I've worked on this with Camille Daly, who is the from Divine Flow Publishing, the same publisher as the anthology. And I'm just so delighted that it's currently available on Amazon, and it's out there, which is wonderful. In the same week as producing this, my website went live, and I was
unstoppable.
And also I was interviewed by another station as well. So I'm just really, really enjoying what I do. Really enjoying what I do, and however I can increase people's well-being, that's what I do. I'm also being featured in something called Letters to My Younger Self. I've written a letter in there, which really speaks about, I'm speaking to the younger Rona, what I would have said to the younger Rona.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then my business with regards to improving happiness, increasing happiness as a happiness coach and consultant. So, it's all go, Simone.
I'm so proud. Well done. Congratulations. I mean, that gratitude journal coming out, and you just got that today, right?
Yeah, hot off the press.
Now, how's that for divine timing? This
I
interview,
know, wonderful,
this interview could
wonderful.
not have been more,
Yeah,
you know,
and my website was actually designed by Charlene Grant, Char PR, but also Charlene Grant's mother is being featured. She's a feature author in the anthology as well, in the Navigating Life anthology.
she is.
So
And the
yeah,
pleasure of interviewing her. I interviewed her just the other day.
great.
So that will be coming out soon. It was an absolute honor.
Mm,
Wow. And don't you just love, Rona, how everything is just tied in together? Everything
yeah.
is not just meshing, but you know, the connections that we're forming.
Everything just falls and fits into place,
Powerful.
which is great.
Yeah, it's also divinely ordered. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All things work together for the good of those who love Jesus Christ.
They sure do. Amen. Amen. Wow, Rona, it's been such a pleasure just being able to share like we have done about you know, our respective journeys on this Navigating Life anthology. I mean, I don't know about you, but I just feel it's just a mixture of emotions. I don't know how I'm going to be feeling closer to the day, but right now
Yeah.
it's just excitement, a humbling feeling, pride. It's just amazing being one.
I just feel like we're on a roller coaster, which is, wonderful. And there's so many things which are coming our way. There's so many opportunities. There's so many doors which are opening. And it's really up to us to walk through those doors which are opening, i.e., the opportunity to be featured in the Navigating Life anthology. That was a door that was opening. And I'm delighted that 29 of us chose to walk through that door. So
same here. I just knew, for me, I think it was a combination of things. The whole pioneering aspect, the fact that it's the first anthology to be born out of our, you know, shared experiences, being on that platform, the Evolve platform, which is part of our church women's ministry. All of these things, all of these various factors that we've been a part of, it's all
yeah.
history. To be able to jump on that and, you know, use that as a, you know, we've been used as a funnel in a way to just go out there and share and spread and
definitely
touch. It's just been, yeah, phenomenal, really.
Yeah,
Amazing.
definitely.
Amazing. Well, I will once again at this juncture just like to say thank you so much, Rona, for joining me on my platform. It's been a real pleasure to serve you. And just remind everyone that all roads lead to the 31st of July, which is when we have the launch for the anthology series. Details will be shared forthwith. It'll be an online event, so look out, keep a lookout. The usual channels, this video will be going out on the usual social media channels. So keep a lookout for that. We would love to see you there. It will be great to share the stories of not just Rona and myself, but the other 27 phenomenal, all female authors. We've all come through life in different ways. We went through the valley at one point, but the most important thing is we came out of it. And we can't wait to share those details with you. We can't wait to share our stories with you. So do keep a lookout. And one final thing to say is, Rona, if people want to connect, I mean, you've got so much going on. There's gratitude journals, there's websites. People want to connect. The best way of doing that would be?
So the best way at the moment is to go to my website, which is Rona, so it's RONA Anderson.com. Or you can find me on Facebook, Rona Anderson on Facebook, or on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, I will include those details in the link below. So if you want to connect, find out what exciting things are in store for Rona, please do feel free to check out those details below. So once again, Rona, thank you so much. And I wish you...
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Simone, for inviting me to actually come on your programme and to discuss about the Navigating Life anthology, and which I agree The launch on the 31st of July is going to be absolutely wonderful. And I'm also looking forward, Simone, to reading about you in the book, and also just following you, just following what you're doing, because it's amazing. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really kind. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Sit there and say once again, God bless and take care.
God bless.
Thank you.